Hey, Yu Chung, it's Mr. Hackman here back again for our CCDD weekly assemblies. I hope you had a fantastic holiday. They go too quick, don't they? Seems like we were just waiting for that Christmas break to arrive, and then it finally did, and we all had a couple weeks off. I trust that you had some time of rest. I know if for some of the older students, you're preparing for mock exams, but for lower secondary, I hope that you also got an opportunity to be able to recharge the batteries, to rest, to have a little time with family, to have a little fun food, and I hope your Christmas was everything that you hoped it would be. Anyhow, we're off to a new year. It is now 2022. I can't believe it is the year 2022. And, even as I am sharing this, we're getting news about the Omicron virus maybe coming into Hong Kong, and a lot of the things that have caused us to have some anxiousness and some stress over the last 2 years. I think we're kind of getting that threatening feel like we could end up going back to maybe some of the restrictions we had before. And I was reading a good article today. It was in the South China Morning Post, and it was by an author, Alice Wu, I believe. And she was just talking about how here in Hong Kong, that she was getting stressed out not only because of the holidays and having to do shopping and all the family commitments and the different things that should bring joy, but the added mental stress of the increased anxiousness that the pandemic has levied on us for the last, however many months. And it doesn't seem to be able to let up in 2022. I think most people that I talk to are thinking 2022 is going to be real similar to 2021. So it's really important that we do some things in our lives to help our mental health, to help our spirit. And when at the start of a new year, it's a great time. You always hear about New Year's resolutions. And then sometimes even I've done some New Year resolution types assemblies when we start the new year. And I've had a number of people say to me, Steve, or student Mr. Hackman, are you going to be doing any New Year's resolutions this year? I think I'm going to be looking at expanding on something that's been working for me for the last few um, I think 2 or 3 months. And I've been wanting to get a little more physically fit, lose a little weight, eat a little better, exercise a bit more. So there's a health YouTube channel that I follow, and they had like this challenge, this 60-day challenge, and you have to get 3 different habits that you write in, and every day that you successfully do your habit, you successfully do what you want, and you can make it anything you want it to be, then you put a little star on that day. And if you see over on my bulletin board, this is from before the break. And you can see some days on the top line, I was getting some stars, and some days that I wasn't. I took a break over those 2 weeks, but over the holiday 2 weeks. But now that I'm back and it's January and it's a fresh year and a fresh month, I'm ready to resume something that I felt was working really well. And there's something about the positive notion of having accomplished something and putting a little gold star there. So every morning I come in, and if I had achieved that goal the day before, I give myself a gold star. Well, what I want to do this over the next couple months is add to that, because that is all kind of food related, or exercise related, or trying the physical aspects of health. But as I mentioned, of what's happening with COVID around the world, and even as I record this, my brother is in the hospital with COVID, and my son in the UK just got over COVID. So this is something that's touching me very personally. And many of you know my father passed away due to COVID last year. So COVID is something that has stressed me out personally, but I know in the city, we are feeling a lot of the anxiousness that it brings. So I think it's really important that we develop some habits. And I'm talking myself personally, and I want to share with you some possibilities maybe you'd like to consider is forming some habits that bring a little bit more health and well-being to your overall day. And so for me, I'm looking at including another 3 habits that will help me in that way. And I've already got 2 of them down. The first one is prayer and meditation. I know you're thinking, oh, Mr. Hackman, you're the school chaplain. You must pray every day and you have this down. But here's the reality is, like yourself, I get caught up in all the responsibilities I have, both at the school and at home. I've got children, I've got grown children that need my help and input. Um, there's a lot of things that push out time-wise the me time that I need to have in order to have clear head and clear spirit. And so some days I do it, but other days I'm not as successful. So there is a prayer and meditation routine that I like to do. And now I've set that as a habit. Every day that I do that, I'm going to give myself a gold star. Again, it sounds silly, but it's funny how that little gold star really works. It's my wife, even on the habits that I was forming before the holiday about health and fitness, whenever at the end of the day, she would say, is it going to be a 3-star day or a 2-star day or a 1-star day or a no star day? And it was always good to say, no, it's a 3-star day. I hit all 3 of my habits yesterday. And so, like I said, I'm looking to add these extra habits. So the first one's going to be prayer and meditation. One of the reasons I want to do that as well is there's a verse in the Bible. There's a lot of verses in the Bible that deal with new beginnings. One of the things I love about my relationship with Christ and my faith is that there's always a fresh day. There's always a new beginning. There's always a new spring, a new life. If you've had a bad day, there's a new day. I love that the world is broken up into days, weeks, months, and years, because if we've had a good day or week, that's great. We can try again for the next day or week. But if we haven't had a good day, there's always a new sunrise. There's always another day. There's always another week. And so there's this verse in Ezekiel I particularly like, and it says, I will give you, that's God speaking, I will give you a new heart and a new spirit in you. I will remove from you your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. And just coming back to what I was sharing a bit about the anxiousness and the stress that we get with COVID in the city. And I know many of you are dealing with academic stresses and there was holiday stresses. It's easy to get a little cynical, a little jaded. The article that I mentioned earlier in the South China Morning Post talked about the jadedness that's happening in the hearts of a lot of Hong Kong people. And if you're not familiar with that English term, jaded just means your heart gets a little hard. You're not as open to being empathetic to people, to being loving to people. You have a defensive mechanism to protect yourself. And that's what this verse is talking about. Over time, your heart becomes hard. And it's not fresh, it's not life-giving, it's not bringing the life and the joy and the wonder that you need to experience. And what this verse is saying is that God wants to give you a fresh heart and a fresh spirit. He can take that heart that is getting a little jaded and a little just hard towards the world, towards other people. You get tired of seeing people. I just don't want to be with anybody, and that's not a good place to be. And so we need to develop in our lives just that heart of flesh that the Spirit is talking about, something that wants to give to others, be with others. You feel good about yourself. And that's where a lot of this starts, is feeling good with yourself. Because if you don't feel good about yourself, it's going to be hard to be loving and compassionate and gentle and joyful with other people. So coming back to the habits, my second habit I want to do that's going to make me feel better about myself is reading more. I used to read all the time. I used to consume books all the time, but I think you get kind of stuck into the social media. Instead of getting up and reading or going to bed and reading at night, you're scrolling through Facebook, scrolling through Twitter, Instagram, checking out different things. And there's TV and YouTube. You go down the YouTube rabbit holes. And so what I want to be conscientious about is not, instead of saying, I'm going to watch less YouTube or I'm going to do less social media, I don't like to focus on the negatives. I don't like to focus on the thou shall nots. What I want to do is fill my life with more life-giving activities and little habits so that it tends to push out the other things. So, like I said, I want to read more. So I'm going to set as a habit, in addition to my prayer, my meditation, I'm going to set as habit 2, reading 10 pages of a book a day. And every day I'm going to read at least 10 pages of whatever book I'm reading. And that way, I know I'm going to feel better about myself, better about my day, knowing I've accomplished a small area. I'm still working on habit 3. I'm not sure what it's going to be yet. If you have any suggestions, feel free. But I want to end this. I know this is getting a little bit long. We'll continue maybe this theme over this month and see how everybody's doing. But I wanted to leave you with this, that consider 3 habits that you would like to maybe implement in your life over the next 60 days, 30 days, whatever you like it to be. And things that would, instead of things that are negative, like stopping doing certain things, what would you like to implement into your life that's going to make you feel better about yourself, that's going to make you feel better about your own self-esteem, and help alleviate some of the anxiousness and stress that I think fills all of our lives to a certain level. Anyhow, I'm going to leave you with that. I hope you have a great first week back. For those of you taking mock exams, I wish you good luck. See you next week. Bye bye.